Thank you so much for being here. Hi, I'm Cecia Alvarado. I have the privilege of serving as Alexis' campaign manager. Thank you. And I'm not here by accident. We're not here by accident. But let me tell you how all this started. Alexis wants to have a team that reflects all of us, including immigrants. I'm not a citizen. And that tells you that we have a future governor who is going to have a seat, we're all going to have a seat at her table in Nevada. So it's going to be us, it's not going to be the lobbyists, it's not going to be the donors. It's going to be the people that look like us, people from all backgrounds, like myself, someone who has found a voice doing this work, and also I get to advocate for my community. So when Alexis, when we met and we started working together, we always talked about today, how do we protect our communities? And we have had conversations with impacted people on how they're feeling, what do we need to do, and how can we do better? And so Alexis listens. She allows people to ask questions, no restrictions on her questions, and she listens. And today she's gonna talk about everything that she has been listening in the last 6 months. It's gonna reflect the plan that we're gonna discuss today as a community conversation. So we appreciate all of you for being here. This is a conversation, and I want to introduce our community partners, our panelists, and before we get started, so there's my dear friend and someone who I have a lot of respect and love for, Jessie from Vibra Las Vegas.
Hello, my name is Yessica. I'm a DACA recipient, and Alexis, since she talked to me and she had a time to sit with me, and she told me that she likes my job because I'm the type of person that I like to always embrace where I came from, and we are not we're not criminals. We are here working. I have 4 jobs. I'm a single mom, and I tell my daughter all the time how to respect where she came from and where we live. And Alexis is always listening to me. She's always worried about mental health. We talk about that. We talk about our kids, our future. And I'm just here because I really love her. So thank you so much, Alexis.
Hi everybody, my name is Bettia Torres Miranda. I am the founder of Handmaids of Las Vegas, and I connected with Alexis a while back, and she's just a very wonderful person. I love what she stands for and what she wants to do with the community, especially immigrants. Handmaids currently, we work with the community with rapid response for the ICE that comes into our neighborhoods. We educate the community with Know Your Rights. We also do volunteer work and bring food to them. We also do deliveries and pickups for them as well as the rest of the community. And Alexis has really been a pivotal role in that, and I really appreciate and thank her for allowing me to have a voice here for the community.
Hi everybody, my name is Iltze Pimienta. I am the president of Latino Student Alliance at CSN. And first of all, I would like to thank you, Alexis, for having me here, and it's an honor being with such a powerful woman. And the reason why I am here today is because I want to advocate for my community. I want to ask those questions that not a lot of people like to answer, but that I've seen that you take the time to answer. Also, I am a community leader, and I stand for my people here, and I see that you do the same. And all I can say is that I have a lot of respect for what you do, and I see you as a very brave woman.
questions. Do you want to ask them any questions on what they're seeing on the ground?
So again, this is a community conversation, so we want to hear from all of you. We're gonna start with making sure that all of you, if you have any questions, we're answering your questions. This is what we said, ask Alexis anything. And we'll pass the mic, we'll hold space. And I want to say that if you're here and I see that this room immigration is not just an issue for us Latinos or immigrants. And so all of you, again, as an immigrant myself, make me feel so empowered to be here because we're not doing this alone. Look at all of you. It's a Thursday evening, and we heard from a lot of people like, "Oh, it's March Madness," and I was like, "I have no idea what that is." But you're here, and you keep showing up, and I just want to say, like, it really empowers me to see all of you in this room, and you're here because you care about our immigrant community. We are in a state that has the most immigrants by capita. We have the most families with mixed status families, and so all of us are impacted by immigration one way or another. So I do want to start with an icebreaker. Let's start with, if you're here, you care about our immigrant community, what does that look like? What does protecting our immigrant community and our families look like to you?
I was wondering if we're going to get information and to explain how people get red cards, power of attorney and guardianship, every 6-month renewals, how they can get those forms and distribute them throughout the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So one organization that is doing a lot of this great work, Handmaids, has been assisting in a lot of that work, ACLU of Nevada. And
how are they reaching that out to?
Oh, how they're reaching that?
How many people here have a red card?
So you want to answer that question?
How are you getting it to people?
So currently the Nevada Immigration Coalition, Naomi works a lot with them as well. They help out a lot, and Handmaids as well. We go and canvass neighborhoods where they're needed, and we pass out Know Your Rights information. We pass out scenes and whistles for them as well that show them what they need to do.
And it's because you don't even need to be a non-citizen. They're just going by your accent, your skin color. To me at this time, anybody that is other than probably fluent English, I have an Appalachian accent, but it's fluent English, but you should be carrying a card.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
And
Always.
do not ever say anything.
And I have cards with me here today, so if you guys need any, you can come and see me after. I will be happy to give you your cards, and they can fit perfectly in your wallet.
And I'm wondering what our panelists are seeing on the ground and what you're hearing on the ground, just to share with the audience. And maybe we can start with that question for the panelists. So what are you seeing on the ground, Yessica?
Okay, so if you guys don't know me, I do social media, and that's what I do a lot. I put a lot of resources for the community. Know Your Rights. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. And so, yeah, everybody's so scared. My daughter here, she's a citizen. She is super worried for me because, like I said, I have 4 jobs. I work so much to maintain my house, and so she's always telling me, if I just, let's say I go in and get something to eat and I stay in my car, she will call me, she said, why are you there for so long? You know, I'm looking at your location, are you okay? Did you got stopped? And it's crazy because she's only 18 years old, so she's trying to live her life, and you know, it's so hard for our little, she's still a little girl, you know, that she worries for. Yeah. And she's like, I know I'm not. But you know, I mean, and one of the things too is that I'm really close with the community and community leaders, and so they know if something happens to me, like I don't have no one. My parents just left the United States. They just moved back to Mexico. And so my daughter is, she's by herself. So if something happens to her, she knows she can call Cecia, Erika, from someone from Mid Road, someone from another organization, so where they can help my daughter because she's gonna be by herself.
Verbal permission gives the same as a written.
We already have that we make the packet about, what's the name of the packet, I forgot.
Family preparedness.
Yes, we have that. She has all that information if something happens. She knows my lawyer, everything. So because, not just because I'm an immigrant, it's because my accent, my skin color, and because what I do with the community, everybody they know where I am and they can detain me if they want. So yeah, we're really worried, but yeah.
Constant fear,
Yes.
right? Right. And what are you hearing with the work that you're doing in outreach and community health?
Pretty much mirrors exactly what you said as well. We're also seeing more activity with ICE, especially in North Las Vegas, East Las Vegas areas. Our rapid response team goes out and we do watches when we get notified that they're possibly there, and we send a team out that goes and kind of canvasses the neighborhood a little bit and speaks to the people directly that they're interacting with. Make sure that they have know your rights with them, make sure they have numbers, and we get numbers for them. So if we have to make a call on their behalf, we can do that as well. I've been hearing a lot from the community also, which is a question I'll probably ask you later in regards to how your feelings are with abolishing ICE and if they're gonna be held accountable for the things that they've done when that time comes, because it will come. There's enough of us standing up and making a presence here. And I know I'm light-skinned, but I am Hispanic, I'm German, I'm first-generation American on my family side too. So it affects all of us and it impacts all of us, everybody from everywhere. People are very afraid. We have people that we give rights to go to their doctor's appointments, or we go pick up grocery orders for them as well, which is what I've been doing a lot of. I go and help take them to school to pick up their child, and I bring them home. I have a van, so it's very useful. I get to utilize it. Thank God that He's given me that purpose so I can help, along with the rest of the community and everybody that's pulling for everyone here and our citizens here too, not just for the immigrants. We're under fire from our own government right now, and we're talking about the wars that are happening across the world. We're having a war right here, and we need to stand up and defend ourselves and take care of us.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And you were talking about some of the things you're seeing at the college and what you've been hearing on the ground. I'd love for you to share.
Yes, what I've seen, first of all, what I've seen was, well, I don't know if any of you heard, but we had CBP come and be invited to our career fair. And a lot of the students, being the president, reached out to me and said, Iltze, what are you gonna do about this? So I said, well, I'm their voice, I have to do what I have to do and I have to speak up. And speaking up led me to have CBP out of our community campus. And not only that, but I was informed also from the UNLV students that they also did the same thing, being inspired by what I did and what we are doing. And CBP also was removed from their career fair. So, in regards to information and the red cards, what we do in campus is we print them out, we give them to the students, and they pass them on to their relatives, their loved ones, and whoever they need them. We have copies of them as well at school in all campuses. If any of our students need extras to pass around, we can print them out for with no issue. as well as I will be working in a future town hall, like I was inviting Alexis for, because I have the power to speak up right now, and I'm gonna use it to give information to our students.
And Iltze is also the first female president of the Latino Student Alliance, so it's incredible, that leadership, and I really appreciate this incredible panel for coming together. We know you all have questions, so we're gonna ask you a few questions, raise your hands, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my policies, and then let's just have a conversation. How many of you know someone impacted by Trump's inhumane immigration policies? Yeah. So this room has felt it personally. And how many feel that things have gotten worse lately? Yeah. And we really need a governor who will fight back against Trump and against Joe Lombardo, our current governor's just acquiescence to Trump's demand that we go along with deporting our neighbors and making Nevada a place where people do not want to visit. Essentially, this has paralyzed our small businesses. This has driven workers out of our communities. And I will not stand by while ICE terrorizes our neighborhoods and our residents. And I will end state cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement outreach immediately on day one. I will create real accountability and for misconduct, which is exactly what you're talking about, and make clear that Nevada protects its people. I believe that these changes are not only right to do, but this is going to help Nevada economically, because our Governor Lombardo essentially going along with this terrorism that is happening on the federal level is crippling our economy. And so I want to talk about some of the ways that I want to protect our families, create accountability and economic stability in Nevada. I want to use the governor's most powerful tool, which is executive orders. And we know that Trump uses executive orders, right? And he has used them to hurt the American people. He's used them to hurt Nevadans. We need a governor who's going to use executive orders in the same way, but is going to help Nevadans and rush and push this emergency that we are experiencing on the ground. And I think that there is a weird perception out there, even with very staunch Democrats, who think that Governor Lombardo is protecting us by going along with this. But our neighbors are quietly being disappeared from our communities. It's not loud, it's not what we've seen in other major cities, but it's happening. We have 3 facilities in our communities that are detaining our community members. And we also know that our airport is one of the largest deportation airports in the United States. And so that is a county airport that also we could require more accountability for. So I'll go through a few of these executive orders and things that I'd like to do to really help our immigrant families and our undocumented families in Nevada, and then let's have a conversation. I also want to open it up to these incredible leaders to see their thoughts and other things that they want to hear. I have been talking to community members about this issue, like Cecia said, for 6 months, and trying to get feedback about what people want to see and what their biggest fears are and what their priorities are. First, for protecting our families, we need an executive order to rescind Nevada's collaboration under the 287G program immediately. We can end that on day one. An executive order, thank you, to prohibit the conversion of commercial space of our detention centers, which the governor actually has some oversight over as well. An executive order to ban ICE agents from all state and local government property, including our parks, universities, schools, healthcare facilities, and daycares. And in the first session, working with the legislature to prohibit cooperation between Nevada law enforcement and ICE by the end of 2027, unless it regards an active warrant. Because that's really what Trump sold to the American people, is that criminals would be deported. And no, these are pregnant community members. These are families picking up their children from school. These are not criminals in our state. And for accountability, we need to create publicly available and transparent tracking of the Attorney General and all state law enforcement efforts to arrest, prosecute misconduct by the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. We need to also create I will create an executive order to create a state database to upload video or other evidence of misconduct and direct the investigation of complaints to our state law enforcement. And I'll also have an executive order to demand immediate, full, and transparent audit of Nevada DMV's cooperation with ICE and prosecution where available, because this is where state officials are actually doing this right now, which the ACLU is suing on. And an executive order to create a process to invoice or sue the federal government as needed for the state costs incurred by ICE. So, thank you. The next piece is, how do we recover? What is the economic vision for Nevada? How do we make sure that our immigrant families, that our undocumented families, can continue to prosper in Nevada during this really unstable, difficult, scary time? The governor of Nevada should go out, and I plan to do this, and announce that Nevada is open for business, no matter what your status is, because you can travel and do business in Nevada and you will be safe. That is going to be a marketing campaign that we will be doing to let people know that we are not part of the Trump administration. Nevada is open for business. We want tourism to come back to Nevada and excite people about coming here because they will be safe here. And we won't have the cooperation with ICE that we have currently. Our immigrant community needs support from Nevada to do what they do best, which is create thriving small businesses. We know that our immigrant communities are incredible at creating small businesses. And on day one, I will declare a state of emergency for all small businesses and use the Nevada State Infrastructure Bank for emergency small business loans, especially for immigrant-run businesses who no longer have access to the small business loans from the federal government. And the legislature will be directed to prioritize elimination of the payroll tax for small businesses and equalize other benefits currently limited to all major corporations that we do our giveaways to currently in this state. When our immigrant communities suffer, we all suffer. When families are torn apart or unable to work due to documentation, they need support to survive. On day one, my executive orders will freeze residential rent increases, freeze premium increases for insurance, and offset federal cuts to federal SNAP benefits. The legislature will be directed to deliver a plan for universal child care and housing rental cap equivalent to the property tax so we can keep people housed in Nevada. Our immigrant families need opportunity for their children, and that's why I am introducing the Nevada Works program. Day one executive orders will create an apprenticeship program in partnership with the Nevada labor unions to hire recent high school graduates and adults to fix trails, build playgrounds, upgrade campsites, rest stops, and other governmental facilities in Nevada. And our immigrant families need to ensure that their kids have better opportunities for education. On day one, executive orders will mandate job readiness programs in all schools by 28 to 29 school year. The legislature will be directed to prioritize government funding and direct corporate investment in community colleges, career, technical, and apprenticeship programs to support comprehensive adult workforce education. We do not need to be last in education, and we need to ensure that our children have opportunities in this state so we can ensure that people stay in Nevada. So that is my plan on how I want to support our undocumented and immigrant families, which actually will help all Nevadans. But I'm really excited to have this conversation, so I'll start with Yessica. Do you have anything to ask or add?
So my question is, do you have any idea what is gonna happen with DACA? Do you think what's our safe space here for the DACA? Because I'm a DACA recipient, so like I said, I even go to school. I have 4 jobs, and I'm taking care of my daughter. So I just wish more, like a safe place. But thank you so much.
Absolutely. I think we need a governor who's going to go to Trump. You need to work with the federal government. You need to demand better from the federal government, and you need to ask that our DACA recipients are protected. And that is going to be a priority, certainly under my leadership in the state of Nevada. And I'm so sorry that you live with this fear. It's horrible. And thank you for speaking out and for coming out, because you are very brave. You are incredibly brave.
I definitely have to give props to Cecia and you both for being here and being courageous. We're courageous women up here. And women get things done. Right? Women get things done here. One question, well, you answered the question that I had for you. That was the main one. Another one is, what words would you tell the community now, like families who are undocumented and are afraid? What piece do you have for them in your words to them to give them some comfort in knowing that there is going to be better?
Right. I think that we all need to remember that elections matter and that we have to show up. And if you are able to vote, if you are able to register to vote in the state, if you are able to engage in our elections, you must. And you must research candidates who have plans on how they will support these initiatives. The governor has to work with the legislature on some of these things that I have proposed, the long-term fixes, because executive orders emergencies only go for so long. And you need to also make sure that your representatives in the legislature are going to stand up against these things as well. And I think that we saw some really good compromises in the last legislative session to push back against ICE in our schools, but we need to ask for more and more protection. So I think that it's asking people to engage. I think what I've learned from all of you is that the only way to feel better during this really tough time is to do something about it and to get involved. And I think that that's the key.
My question to you is, DACA recipients have lived in Nevada for many years here with a lot of fear and uncertainty. But I think one of the biggest issues of DACA students believing in any governor's voice now is because a lot of them have praised them when it comes to when they're running for elections. And once elections pass, they forget about it. And my question to you is, why should DACA students trust you?
Right, yeah. I think that's a great question. I have been knocking doors lately, and I know that any other candidates or volunteers who have been out there doing that have found that people are losing faith in their government. They're losing faith in their party. I have a lot today. A gentleman at a door said, he's a registered Democrat who goes out to, he's like a religious primary Democratic voter, and he said, I don't like Democrats right now. And it's because we have not been delivering, and we've been talking a lot and not doing a whole lot. And that's why I'm running, because I am so frustrated with that. I want better. am working on the county level, trying to do what I can for this state, and I continue to feel and hit roadblocks with this state that is big talk about we believe in education. We believe in investing in healthcare. We believe in making sure that working families have a chance in Nevada, but not really seeing anything come out of it and continuing to see people fall behind. And so to me, you got to ask the hard questions. You have to make sure that someone has a plan on day one. I think we are in unprecedented times, and we need real leadership from elected officials who want to get in there, roll up their sleeves, and do the hard work and protect our working families. This plan will support DACA recipients because it's going to ensure that our local law enforcement is not having, these folks don't want to arrest their community members for being undocumented. They want to help fight bad guys. That's why they got into that job. And so I think it's freeing up those resources to make sure that victims of domestic violence and other crimes can actually be prosecuted instead of really going after law-abiding community members. So I think it's tough. It's really tough to run in this environment because I think that people are disillusioned, but we have got to continue to engage because our democracy will die if we do not talk about the issues, if we do not have debate, if we do not push on our elected officials. I don't know what the future of democracy is in our country. And so I think that that's why we have Republicans who don't want to see an educated workforce. They don't want to see that we teach about civics in school because they don't want this to survive. So we've got to make sure that we do better. And I want to do better. I've been working in local government my whole career because I've seen that it can make your life better. And so let's expect better from elected officials, but I understand the doubt. I think it's finding a cause you really believe in and fighting for it. And that's what I'm trying to do every day here. But I want to continue to engage with people and answer the hard questions. So it's a great question. Thank you. All right, thank you. We now can open it up to questions from folks in the audience. Yeah, come on up.
Oh, come on up.
Well, I'll give you the mic. Yeah, because you have to. We just have one mic. We're a technology. There you go. Let's see. Oh, that's okay.
Actually, can you pass this underneath?
Okay.
I can speak loudly from my
There. Oh, there it is. There it is. There you go.
Okay, so I guess I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what you were saying as far as we're really focused on who we know our, I guess, quote unquote enemies are as far as Republican policies, Trump.
Right.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that Democrats have been working really hard pushing these right-wing policies. So we know Laken Riley is directly tied to what's happening with ICE. It was very clear that due process was going to be removed, and you could just look like someone or be accused of something. It was very clear there wasn't going to be due process. And we have plenty of Democrats in this state who supported that. And they continue to fund ICE, fund opening up these facilities. And so I think it's important that we also really focus on Democrats and keep the pressure on Democrats even when they're in power. Because I just think sometimes we look at it very binary, and that doesn't always help us.
Yeah, it doesn't serve us. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And this is to piggyback on that statement. I think this is the hard part about money in politics, because there's an assumption that if you have a war chest, then you're presumed to be the candidate that's going to win. And, or if you're more well-known, even if you're not necessarily delivering. And I think that that is what we have got to demand better for. And I have seen When I ran for county commission the first time, I did not have any money, I did not have any endorsements, but I talked to people. I know you can win races by talking to people and engaging on the issues and pushing back against this narrative that I know this candidate, therefore I'm going to vote for them. And just talking to Democrats, they're fed up. They want something better. So I hear exactly what you're saying. We've got to demand better. And we're seeing this across the country. We're seeing Democrats expect better from their party, and we're seeing new candidates come in and push back. So I'm really excited. That gives me hope for the future. You know, it gives me real hope. All right, next, yes, come on up.
Hello, Alexis. Good to see you. So I'm Levi Schultz, President, Founder of Nevada Veterans Caucus. So we've been doing a listening tour, and a part of our listening tour, which it surprised me, but it didn't. One of the things that came up were our deported veterans.
Yeah.
So it's something that's not often thought about,
Right.
but it was one of the top issues that came up in our recent town hall in Henderson. I could also say that this is personal to me because my husband is an immigrant and he was questioned by ICE as well. So, and it's terrifying because he goes to work and you look at your phone and you're like, is he gonna come back? So, for me, I think that one of the things I would like to essentially tell you is that there's not a lot of opportunities for troops who serve in the National Guard and the Air National Guard to become citizens. So when they leave service and they're still in the state, if it's volatile, they're vulnerable. So as the Commander-in-Chief of the Air National Guard and the National Guard for our state, you have an opportunity to create fast tracks for our troops to become citizens. So I would really appreciate that if that's an initiative that you would take up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And that is an issue that not a lot of people are talking about, so I appreciate you pointing that out, Levi. Any other comments or questions from the audience?
To that, like a lot of people, a background to that story, and I appreciate you, Levi, for bringing this issue up because a lot of us know about it because, you raise your hand, we all know somebody.
Yeah.
We all know somebody impacted by these policies, but it's also like policies that are deporting our veterans. And a lot of our, if you understand like how broken our immigration system is currently, is that you may have undocumented parents, but they give you the promise that if you serve in the military, we can either make you a citizen so you can adjust their status, or if you are a born citizen, you can join the military, do your service, and we will give your parents a status. And a lot of times these are broken promises, so the result of those broken promises and this frustration of in our community that we keep hearing these promises is that we don't have anyone fighting hard enough for us. We don't have, when was the last time you heard of an executive order to protect our immigrant communities? Why not? So it sounds like a campaign promise, but it's actually, again, from conversations from our community and listening and understanding that we have a problem. And maybe, it's, a lot of people say, well, immigration is federal. No, you can do a lot in our state, so don't settle for less. And especially because our service members are being deported, given promises. And when I travel, because let me be clear, I hold privilege. I'm a permanent resident, and right now I'm trying to find my citizenship. 23 years, that's how long it has taken me to try to adjust my status. 23 years. I went 2 weeks ago for my appointment, and they just, oh, you're missing a picture. That's what it was denied. It was like, we submitted the picture. Oh, there's a new order that says that you have to have the picture with you. So now I have to go back with an attorney. So this is all the barriers that we have Everybody has a different status, everybody has a different story. But yes, like we are hearing that, like, oh, if you join the army, if you join the service and you serve for X amount of years, we'll adjust your status, and then that is the consequences of those broken promises.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, come on.
So my name's Naomi. I'm a multi-organization volunteer here in Las Vegas, and I do support your campaign. I have written to a variety of people in our, or let's just say our state officials, from our treasurers, our senators, of course, our state assemblymen, and of course our attorney general, who is also your opponent in this race, asking them if they are willing to do what is necessary in their role and capacity to withdraw federal support, whether it be mostly funds, and withhold those federal funds until we have legal compliance and ending of unconstitutional executive orders, laws, what have you, that have just had these horrible consequences on our communities. Are you willing to withdraw federal funds from our state in order to legally push back against the Trump regime?
That's a great question, and I think that is one of the broken issues, or one of the broken situations in Nevada, is that we are so dependent on federal funds. A third of our budget comes from the federal government, and most states don't have that equation because they have real revenues to pay for essential services, and we do not. And one of the number one reasons that I'm running is that I have to call out what I see every day as an elected official. We do not have enough money to take care of our communities today. And government is right now being held up by baling wire and duct tape and a lot of one-time funds. And this next legislative session, unless there are real changes, we are looking at cuts. So anyone running for office who's not talking about revenues, who's not talking about being brave and saying we need to raise taxes, not on all of you, not income tax, not continuing to raise the sales tax that you already pay, and continue to raise the gas tax you pay and your vehicle registration tax, which we love to do in this state, overtax all of you, right? But actually ask those who are not paying their fair share to pay their fair share. And the way that one of the benefits of doing that is you're not as reliant on federal funds.
We have plenty of those in Nevada.
Exactly. There's a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of people who are getting away. And some of these loopholes have been done in malice, and some of them are just because we have not modernized our tax system. And we have got to talk to the community and have a real discussion saying, we do not have enough money to do what is expected of us. Is the state going to be our social safety net or not? Because right now, they have decided I'm not. As a county commissioner, every legislative session, it's like, how do we give more to the county, which is fine. I'm like, on the local level, I want to help, I want to support all of our vulnerable people. I don't have the resources. And it's heartbreaking, you know, every day. So right now, we're in a situation where elected officials can conveniently say, oh, I have to follow Trump's orders because we need the money. But there are many states who are pushing back, who are saying, we don't need that. And I think that Nevada can do that. We just have to modernize ourselves and get ourselves out of we have a structural deficit in this state. And we are not able to pay our bills, and we'll continue to cut, and we'll continue to fall behind. Who lived here during the Great Recession in Nevada? Brutal. 21% unemployment at one point. It was a horrible time. And we still have not fully recovered from that. And now we're going back into another recession. Let's be real, I don't like to say it, but it's real. And self-imposed in many ways by this administration and by our governor. And if we do not change, we are going to have some brutal times ahead for no reason. and leaving behind kids and seniors and people who are mentally ill and continuing to let homeless people die on the street. I mean, just really basic things that we should be doing, we are not doing. And so yes, I want to fight back. I think we need a governor who will fight back, and we actually have to have a governor that will fight back and fight for Nevadans. Not just say, I'm going to fight Trump. Right. I'm going to fight for Nevadans. Yeah. You know. Thank you. Yeah.
I literally don't have to introduce myself to her, but I'll introduce anybody else. Hi, I'm Joseph Webb. I am a blue dot in the red pond of Boulder City, and everyone is tired of listening to me yap about you. Your TikTok DMs are just me tagging you. It's ridiculous. So, piggybacking off that question, you know, Nevada is very unique, and something like, what, 90% of our land is owned by the feds. So, you know, I agree, we do need to push back on them, but how do we handle that when they're quite literally our landlord? You know, how do we navigate that situation?
Yeah. Well, what's crazy about that is we have a federal government who wants to sell all of those lands, and we have a governor who thinks, yeah, that's a great idea. That's how we'll deal with housing in Nevada, is to sell more public lands. So I think that it is a complex issue. PILT, payment in lieu of taxes, is what all your counties get to say, because you can't develop this land that's surrounding you, this federal land, this will make your budget whole. But I'll tell you what, PILT does not even touch how much work we do on federal lands as counties, the fire prevention work that we do, the management of lands that we do. And so I think that we need to talk to our congresspeople and senators to increase the PILT money that we get. I think that you could find bipartisan support for that, because it's just not enough. But I think that, you know, we also have a federal government that's talking about Yucca Mountain again. And so we need a governor who's going to fight back against that as well. I feel like we're back to the 80s and 90s talking about not in my backyard, not in Nevada. Nevada's not a wasteland. So these are big fights ahead, and I'm going to have an incredible team and incredible set of attorneys in the governor's office to help us push back as much as we can, and make sure that we're protecting Nevadans. But it's going to be a challenge, no question. Yes, come on up.
So my question is, like, we're all here because we absolutely know that immigrants are key to our community. My dad was a legal immigrant and became an American citizen. So I'm first generation on my dad's side, but my mom, every line on my mom's side goes back to like the 1600s. How do we form a bridge to like get people on board who don't appreciate immigrants and what it takes to become a citizen? Like, I have so many friends who voted for Trump, but also say, well, they're deporting the criminals. Or like my own mother, you know, she has this idea that it's easy to become a citizen because in 1979, when she helped my dad get his green card, she was like, it took a year. And it's like, people just don't understand how hard it is to become a citizen. Or if you're from Central America or an African country, how hard it is to try and become a citizen. I'm like, how do we form a bridge? Because we have a lot of Republicans in the state. And so, yeah, I'm on board for executive orders, but how do we form a bridge so that people are not resenting these executive orders and turn away and want to fight against it? And we get them on board to say, we are doing this to help our state.
I mean, I love that, because I do think that the governor's job is actually to bring people together and to solve problems in a bipartisan way. And so I look forward to working with Republicans in the legislature and Republicans in the state for solutions. I'll tell you, the great thing that brings people together is food and cultural experiences, and understanding that our immigrant communities are the ones that are bringing this to us. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to create cultural conversations without being too mushy about it, with folks who may not understand that immigrant experience. And so in Las Vegas, I think people love how culturally rich and diverse this place is, regardless of your partisanship. And so I think that it's really uplifting what our immigrant families bring to our communities, and leading on that and talking about it and making it part of the Nevada that, you know, we all love, and really making sure that your governor is going out there and celebrating all that Nevada has to share. Like, I'm so honored when I meet people, especially in Las Vegas, who come here for opportunity and risk everything to start a small business, which is a truly immigrant experience, because immigrants typically can't get into a traditional job and they have to create their own. And so I think really talking about how that is like what makes America so great is entrepreneurship, and really bringing those stories to, and bringing those stories with real people's faces and real people's experiences, you know, to the table. I think that that is a governor's job, to make sure that we bring people together, and I want to do that. And I think through our community and through our state, we are going to be able to do that. I think that there is more, because I work with Republicans. My county is a very purple county, and I will tell you, these things that I talk about, that I've talked about today, there are a lot of Republicans that agree. There are a lot of Republicans that think it's shameful that we're 48th in per pupil funding. They just don't know how to lead on that issue and how to talk about finding the funding to go against their party. There's a lot of Republicans who think that this, you know, disappearing of community members is unacceptable. They just don't want to speak out about it. And so I think it's really leading on that, and I think that that's what we should expect from our governor, from all elected officials, to really speak out for people who don't have a voice and aren't brave, like Yessica, to speak out every day on social media, knowing that she potentially is at risk, and being at this event tonight. I mean, and that's why we have Sean Navarro as our security, to make sure she gets out okay. Sean, do you want to say anything?
No, I wouldn't.
You want to? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I talk from my seat if I promise to? I hate being like up front. So I think that there are coalitions that could really be built in this state for people's hearts that are already open. Mm-hmm. Like, my family has been here for over 400 years. Yeah. Since, right? Yeah. So I come from a people where we're very used to the government going back on their word. You're also never going, for people whose hearts are closed, you're never going to prove how human you are, right? You're never, I mean, I think we also have to remember the history of this country, where there were plenty of people who packed up for picnics, their family, to go watch lynchings, right? We have to be real that this was not long ago, and some people's hearts haven't changed. And that we have to be real that, I'm just gonna say, there is value in whiteness. There's safety in it. And so some people understand that even in their heart they feel bad, but they don't want to speak out about it. And that's because that will bring down where they are in the society. And so certain people are gonna do whatever they're gonna do. But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity in this super small state. I graduated from UNR in 2004. This state is so small. So, and I'm originally from East Oakland, California, so I know what it's like when communities come together. So there has been a lot of purposeful division between Black and brown communities. And I feel like if we can really come together I mean, we're used to fighting the government. We're used to everybody hating us, and we're never gonna become human to some people. That's absolutely fine. We can get results. So I think we can already build a coalition. It's kind of like when you're trying to win over Republicans as a Democrat. People are where they are. Yeah. You have plenty of people who are wide open to vote for you. And there are plenty of people who are wide open to continue to have a relationship. Maybe we can talk after or something, but I think sometimes it's dangerous to focus on, because in America, people will eat up people's culture. Yeah. They're still not gonna see your humanity. They love a Taco Tuesday, and they still want you deported. It's just true. You know, when I started the first Junior League of Las Vegas, this was over 5 years ago, when I was a member for almost 10 years, and I was asked to start a DEI committee. They wanted to have things like that. Let's go to different restaurants. But that was it. It was to consume it, not to protect it. So I think we have to be careful in putting too much into that, and we need to put more in building on what is already there and protecting that. So that's all.
Something. We're forgetting one thing. Everything 47 in this present regime is doing is unconstitutional. Congress makes immigration laws. We have to demand that our senators in Congress represent the honored oath of office to protect the USA Constitution, and we have to have a governor like Alexis wants to be that will protect Nevada state rights, because they've been violated. Our state rights have been violated with Joe Lombardo. But it's against the law for anybody but Congress to make laws governing immigration, and Trump is trying to use old laws, and he's illegally using executive orders, but we have to do. It's 15 months and nobody stopped this madman yet. Mm-hmm. You know, each day is worse than the day before. Yeah. But it's against the law when it's happening, and everybody said, don't make waves, or they're voting for a budget that anointed him to be a king. I mean, it's against the law. Everything we're discussing today is against the Constitution, against Nevada state rights, and that's what we should focus on. Because I think Nevada respects their state rights more than any state in the whole union, and they've been violated.
Thank you.
All right, Sean, come on up.
Yeah. So you all know we're having these conversations every week. Pretty much every other day we have a new event, and we're meeting with the community. And again, we appreciate all of you that are here today, because this is a conversation for especially all of you that have the ability to vote. So I'm asking for a call of action, okay? One, are you following us on social media? You know we don't need those likes. You know we need those likes, all right? We're living in a social media. So are you following Alexis on social media? I want to see you tagging us tonight.
And could you please
give
us your information?
Alexis for Nevada. Go except.
Oh, Alexis.
Yeah.
Everything.
So except on X, we're not on X because we do not support Elon Musk. Okay. So that's where you're not gonna find us. So make sure you're following us. Bring a friend next time. Go back. You're all here because you want change. You're leaders in your own communities, in your own spaces, and make sure you're talking to your friends about Alexis. We're probably gonna see you at a door. We have events. We have an office here in Las Vegas. We are making calls. We're texting people. We're knocking on doors every Tuesday, every Friday, and then starting April 4th, every Saturday, we're gonna be at the doors. I love talking to people, so please send me out in the community. Alexis is knocking on doors. She's already knocking on doors, talking to people, making calls. So I want you, as we're building coalition, because I agree, and when you build a healthy economy, nobody's gonna complain about it. Yeah. And when you embrace small businesses built by immigrants, and when you show that you can build a strong, healthy economy while protecting your immigrant communities, no one is gonna complain, because we all want our money, we all want to be able to live in this community, we all wanna be able to buy a house, And so when you have a governor willing to fight for that and willing to build those coalitions, but also show that our immigrant communities are great for our economy. It's our Nevada economy is run by immigrants. And so thank you so much, but we want to close in.
Yes, close with Sean Navarro, who's running for assembly,
Yes.
and he is totally inspirational as well.
Bring it on home.
Yeah, bring us home, Sean.
Thank y'all so much. Give it up for Alexis one more time. Let's give it up for a great panel here. And lastly, Shirley and Lacey, give it up for yourselves for being out here tonight. It's great coming out on Thursday, March Madness. This is a real March Madness in here. Thank you so much for the great introduction. My name is Sean Navarro. I'm running for assembly in AD 34. Thank you so much. I think what's so important about meetings and gatherings like this, it really talks about the human side of these issues. This is not something that's happening somewhere far away. There's not just numbers on a piece of paper. It's happening to people. It's happening to our neighbors, to our family members. I want to tell a little story about one of my family members. My late grandfather, he's the reason I do this. Rudy Cobos, Big Rudy, we used to call him. He was an Air Force veteran. He worked construction. He was a first generation American. He's very proud to be American, but he faced a lot of discrimination. And he was the most gentle, kindest man I ever knew. And to this day, he passed back in 2008. To this day, it makes me sad to think how much he faced. I can't believe anyone could be rude to this man simply from where he came from. To just the kindest man I know. And he, when he was in his 70s, he was taking care of his grandkids, my cousins. My aunt was going through a little bit hard time, so him and my grandmother were raising their grandkids. And he went back to work as a security guard in his 70s to buy a home, to give his grandkids a little stability. He took a real risk for us. He took a sacrifice. And I think that's something that's so important. So I think all of us here today, especially this community, are here because someone took a risk for us.
That's right.
Someone made a sacrifice. No one does this alone. We do this together. And I think that's so important from our elected officials. Because right now there's a lot of people in power. There's a lot of people doing things and they're not. So when you vote this coming June and November, I want you to remember those who are willing to take a risk, who are willing to take a sacrifice. Because sometimes we hear, well, this is kind of a tough issue. Oh, this is a little bit of a wedge issue. And we are not wedge issues. These are our lives. And we cannot wait. And I think it's time that people who are running for office take the risk to stand up like Alexis is doing here. So when you go to vote in June, you please remember that. Thank you so much again for your time. My name is Sean Navarro, AD 34. Real quick, y'all messed up by giving me the mic here to close off, but let's give it for Cecia. It was actually her birthday yesterday, so real quick, maybe say a little happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cecia. Happy birthday to you. Woo, yeah. Cha-cha-cha. We actually got a surprise cake. Katie, bring out the cake here.
Now I'm excited for cake. That's it.
All right, thank you. Let's continue the conversation on future events, and y'all have a safe drive home.
Thank you.